You know that silhouette, right? It's one of the most famous shapes on the entire planet. A circle of giant stones that's been standing there for 5,000 years, just guarding its secrets. We're talking about Stonehenge, of course. But while we all recognize the name, the real story of how and, more importantly, why it was built is one of history's greatest detective stories.
So what exactly are we looking at here? Just a ring of massive stones sitting on a plain in England for 5 millennia. The one question that has obsessed everyone, from ancient druids to modern-day archaeologists, is actually pretty simple, but it's huge. Why? Why was this built? So let's dig into the clues and see if we can piece this 5,000-year-old puzzle together.
Okay, but before we can even touch the why, we have to get our heads around the how. I mean, the sheer scale of building this thing with absolutely zero modern technology, it's honestly one of the most incredible feats of engineering in all of human history.
First off, get any idea out of your head that Stonehenge was built in one go. Not even close. This was a massive, multi-generational project, a sacred space that was built and rebuilt over a staggering 1,500 years. The first ditch was dug way back in 3000 BC, but the stones we recognize, they didn't even start showing up for another 500 years. Just imagine a project that your great-great-great-great-grandparents started.
So first they brought in the blue stones. Now the name is a little misleading. These things weigh several tons apiece. And here's the crazy part. They were moved over 150 miles from quarries all the way over in Wales. That meant dragging these colossal rocks over land and water with nothing but brute strength, rope, and just unbelievable determination.
But listen, if the blue stones were a challenge, the sarsen stones were on a whole other level. These are the big boys, the iconic giants that form that main circle, and they weigh up to 65 tons each. That is heavier than 6 adult elephants. How on earth they were shaped, moved, and then lifted perfectly into place, well, that's still one of archaeology's hottest debates.
Okay, so we've established that the effort to build this was, well, it was almost superhuman. Which brings us right back to that central question, and now it feels even more urgent. Why? Why go to all that trouble? Well, the answer might lie in a few competing theories. Over the years, the investigation has really narrowed down to 3 main theories. Was Stonehenge a massive astronomical observatory, like a giant stone calendar to track the sun and the seasons? Or was it a sacred burial ground, a final resting place for the most important people, like royalty or high priests? And then there's a third idea, that it was a center for healing, a place people traveled to for miraculous cures. And incredibly, there's good evidence for all 3.
The evidence for it being an observatory is pretty powerful. The alignment is just perfect. On the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, the rising sun lines up exactly with some of the keystones, just flooding the center of the monument with light. Now, for an ancient farming society, knowing precisely when the seasons were turning wasn't just mystical, it was a matter of survival.
But here's where the story gets way bigger. It's so easy to picture Stonehenge just sitting there by itself, but that's not the whole picture. Not at all. It was actually the jaw-dropping centerpiece of a huge, sacred landscape, surrounded by other earthworks and burial mounds for miles around. And it wasn't just a local thing either. Stonehenge was part of this huge cultural movement. From the absolutely enormous Avebury Stone Circle to other henges all across Britain, it's pretty clear that building these incredible sites was central to life back then. This was a shared belief system that we are still trying to fully wrap our heads around.
So, how do we sort through all these ancient clues? Well, the investigation is still very much active. Today, we have a whole new toolkit of modern technology that's letting us see beneath the ground and analyze the stones themselves, unlocking secrets that have been hidden for thousands of years.
So this is how it works now. You've got your traditional digs, sure, which are still uncovering new artifacts, but now archaeologists use amazing tools like ground-penetrating radar to map out what's under the soil without ever lifting a shovel. It's like an X-ray of the earth, and by analyzing the chemical signature of the stones, they can pinpoint the exact spot in Wales those blue stones came from. It's ancient detective work with a seriously high-tech twist.
And make no mistake, this is not a cold case. Far from it. New discoveries are constantly rewriting parts of the story, tweaking our understanding of how and why Stonehenge was built. The stones, it turns out, haven't given up all their secrets just yet.
So after all this time, why does a circle of stones on a plain in England still capture our imagination so completely? What is its ultimate legacy?
Well, part of the answer is its official status. Back in 1986, Stonehenge became a UNESCO World Heritage Site. What that means is that it's recognized as a treasure belonging to all of humanity, a place so important that it's protected by international agreement for all future generations to see.
But beyond any fancy title, Stonehenge is something more, isn't it? It's this powerful symbol of what people can achieve when we work together towards a common monumental goal. It speaks to our timeless need to understand our place in the cosmos and our deep desire to build something that will last long after we're gone.
And that leaves us with one last really big question. The builders of Stonehenge left a legacy that has sparked wonder for 5,000 years. It really makes you think, in our own age of incredible technology, what are we building today that will leave a future civilization completely speechless? What will be our Stonehenge?